In 2020, one video game launch was so catastrophically bad that Sony did something they'd never done before. They pulled it from the PlayStation Store entirely. In 2012, Projekt Red released a teaser trailer that would change gaming forever. A single image, a woman with blades coming out of her arms, and a promise: Cyberpunk 2077 was coming. At the time, Projekt Red was a small Polish studio. They were known for one thing: the Witcher series, and gamers loved them. The Witcher 3 wasn't just good, it was a masterpiece. It won over 800 Game of the Year awards, and it made Projekt Red something rare in the gaming industry, a studio that gamers actually trusted. So when they announced Cyberpunk 2077, expectations weren't just high, they were impossibly high. Then came E3 2019. Keanu Reeves walked on stage. The internet exploded. "You're breathtaking" became a meme. Pre-orders skyrocketed. Projekt Red wasn't just making a game anymore. They were making the most anticipated game of all time. 8 million people pre-ordered Cyberpunk 2077 before anyone had played it. 8 million people trusted Projekt Red completely. That trust was about to be shattered. The delays started. April 2020, then September, then November, then December. Each delay came with promises. The game just needed more polish. It would be worth the wait. What gamers didn't know was that behind the scenes, Cyberpunk 2077 was falling apart. Developers were working 100-hour weeks. The game's scope had ballooned beyond what was possible. Features were being cut daily. And worst of all, the console versions were barely functional. But Projekt Red had a problem. They'd promised investors a 2020 release. They'd spent years building hype, and they'd already delayed 4 times. So they made a decision that would define their legacy. On December 10, 2020, Cyberpunk 2077 launched. On PC, it was rough but playable. Buggy, yes. Missing features, absolutely. But the core game was there. On PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, it was a disaster. NPCs disappeared, cars spawned inside each other, the frame rate dropped into single digits, the game crashed every 30 minutes, character models looked like they belonged on a PlayStation 2. This wasn't a buggy launch. This was a broken product sold at full price to millions of people. And here's what made it worse. Projekt Red knew. They'd refused to send console review copies. They'd forbidden reviewers from using their own footage. They'd hidden the truth until it was too late. The backlash was immediate and brutal. Refund requests flooded Sony and Microsoft. Review scores tanked. Social media turned on Projekt Red overnight. Then came the moment no one expected. Sony pulled Cyberpunk 2077 from the PlayStation Store entirely. This had never happened before with a major release, ever. Microsoft offered refunds to anyone who asked. No questions. Projekt Red's stock price collapsed. In the weeks following launch, the company lost over $1 billion in market value. Executives faced a class action lawsuit from investors who claimed they'd been misled. The Polish government, their own government, launched an investigation into whether the company had misled consumers. Projekt Red released an apology video. The co-founder looked exhausted. He promised fixes. He promised patches. He promised the game would become what they'd envisioned. But the damage was done. The studio that gamers trusted more than any other had betrayed that trust completely. They'd sold a broken product. They'd hidden the evidence. And they'd hoped no one would notice. Key developers left the company. Morale collapsed. The studio that had built its reputation on passion and quality was now synonymous with corporate greed. For 2 years, Projekt Red worked to fix what they'd broken. Patch after patch after patch. Slowly, the game became playable, then stable, then actually good. In 2022, Netflix released Cyberpunk Edgerunners, an anime set in the game's world. It was incredible. Players returned to give the game another chance. By 2023, Cyberpunk 2077 had something resembling a redemption arc. The reviews improved. Players praised the updates. Some even called it one of the best RPGs of the generation. But here's the question that still haunts CD Projekt Red. Was it worth it? Their stock never fully recovered. Their reputation took years to rebuild. They lost developers, lost trust, and lost the one thing that made them special. The belief that they were different from other gaming corporations. Now they're working on The Witcher 4. And gamers are watching closely. Will CD Projekt